Welcome to Sparks of History, where world history and Jewish history meet. Today, we are very pleased to have with us Professor Steven Nadler. Professor Nadler is the professor of early modern philosophy and Jewish philosophy at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Professor Nadler additionally is a member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. He has published extensively, and some of his works include Spinoza, A Life, editing the Cambridge History of Jewish Philosophy from Antiquity through the 17th century, The Philosopher, the Priest, and the Painter, a portrait of Descartes, Think Least of Death, Spinoza on How to Live and How to Die. And today we will be discussing Professor Nadler's most fascinating work, which we have right here, Menasseh ben Israel, Rabbi of Amsterdam, which is part of the Yale University Jewish Lives series. And I purchased this great book on Amazon. I encourage everyone to just go onto Amazon, order it, great delivery, best way to get it. It's really a page turner. Just to begin, Professor, a little bit about your background and how you became interested in Menasseh ben Israel.
All right. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on this. So my history with Menasseh is sort of one of twists and turns. When I was an undergraduate at Washington University in St. Louis in the late 70s, one of my professors was Richard Popkin, who was a great scholar of early modern philosophy, but also a great digger in the archives, and he himself had brought Menasseh to the attention of a wider public. But at that point, it didn't mean much to me. Later on, when I started working on Spinoza, and especially writing the biography of Spinoza, that involved trying to get a sense of what Jewish life in Amsterdam in the 17th century was like, and recreating that world for the reader so I could put Spinoza, and especially his youth and education, in some kind of context, since we have very little documentation about that. And that involved looking at who the rabbis were, what was this community of Sephardic Jews, what were they doing in Amsterdam, and how did they thrive? And after some years, I decided that it would really be interesting to take a close look at Menasseh ben Israel himself, rather than just using him as background for Spinoza. And this became, as these projects do, became a kind of consuming focus of my work for a couple of years, and seemed to fit really well into the Jewish Lives series. I had to do a little convincing that Menasseh ben Israel deserved a volume up there with Barbra Streisand and Steven Spielberg. So I'm really thrilled to hear you call it a page turner. And I hope that the book does bring Menasseh to the attention of more people. When I was telling people I was writing a book in the series on Menasseh ben Israel, the first response was, who? But I do think he deserves a place in the pantheon of Jewish intellectual history.